Hey, what's going on, everybody? Rob the Warrior Strategist coming at you from San Diego. And I wanted to do a video this week about monetizing your podcast and turning it into a cash machine. I know a lot of people that do podcasts and they are really, really good at what they do, but they never quite understand what powers they have as a podcaster. And the funniest thing, as you guys know, I am a magazine owner. I own Shift Advanced Life Design magazine. And a lot of the strategies that I use in order to monetize Shift and to build my audience are applicable to podcasters. So the things that I use to get people to buy ads and to bring in revenues and to create like side streams of income all can apply to your podcast. And so what I'm going to share today are some of these strategies in order to help you to monetize, give you some ideas, up-level your brand of your podcast, and just to help you make it into something that will make your life better. We broke our sales record for Shift this last issue, and it was a great feeling, and I want to keep up that pattern. And so the things that I really learned from this last issue that came out, I'm going to share with you guys. So let's just jump into it right away. The first thing to do is to sit down with a piece of paper and create a strategy session so that you understand the process, okay? A lot of people get into podcasting because it's fun, but they treat it like hobbyists, not like serious media platform owners. And what's the difference? Hobbyists never think about up-leveling. They never think about increasing their brand. They never think about ever reaching out to celebrities, ways they can monetize, improving their graphics, their photography. They never think about distribution strategies. They just get up, they do their podcast. They might interview somebody, and then they'll put it out on Facebook, and that's about it. And they wonder why they never really take off. They never build an audience, anything like that. That's what I want you guys to avoid, because it's a trap. All it is pretty much an unpaid internship, and you guys are better than that. If you're a fan of the Warrior Strategist, I teach aggressive business strategies to get you monetizing and to make you successful. I make you highly visible. I make you a celebrity in your sphere. I help people to get out of their own constructs that their minds put them in. And so I want better for you guys. I don't want you to be an unpaid hobbyist, like an intern. I want you guys to be a serious journalist in the audio sphere, making stuff happen with the goal of being a very well-known podcaster to where it is an honor to be on your show. And that's the mindset change you have to make for a lot of you guys. So the first thing to do is to understand that your podcast has powers. So I'm going to give you guys some basic tips here. The first thing you need to do is make the pitch. And this is a mindset issue. I have a ton of people out there that start podcasts and they never tell their audience or potential sponsors like what's out there. They tell me like, yeah, Rob, I'd love people to pay for my podcast or to send me free stuff or to get sponsors. And I'm like, okay, did you put it on an offer? Well, no. Well, how do you expect this to happen? Like, you don't just imagine this and your sponsor magically knocks on your door and just shows up. You have to make the pitch. So start thinking about the ways that you can make your podcast valuable to a sponsor, right? If you put yourself in the sponsor's shoes. If they want more sales and they want to link up with you and they want to get more media visibility, what value do you create for them to where they will invest in your podcast, to where it's a business partnership, right? So what you need to do is, now that you convince yourself to actually make the pitch, and I can't believe I even have to tell people to do this, but it's incredible, like how many light bulbs go off when I just suggest this. The next thing to do is to assess all your bundle assets. And what that means is, the reason that I was able to break all my sales records for Shift Magazine is I created bundles. Bundles are amazing in advertising, right? Because Shift itself is a digital publication. There is no print version. So people can either buy ads, or they can buy like a 2-page feature, or they can buy like the cover if they really got deep pockets and they want to invest in themselves. So buying an ad on their own might get their website a couple of visits. And I started to realize this a couple of years ago, like early stage. Like ads were good, but they weren't converting to sales. And I didn't feel right ethically selling people ads, even when they come to me and they're like, hey, Rob, I really want to buy some ads in Shift. You know, how much do they cost? And I would sit down with them when I would have the talk. And so I had to make the offer better so that if somebody invested in an ad, they get sales, right? And so bundles were the secret. So even if somebody just buys an ad for like 197 bucks, they get social media promotion. They go out to my email list. I personally recommend them, endorse them, and sometimes buy from them just so I can do a post telling people why they should check out their website. So the ad itself isn't enough, but having the ad talking about this company on the Facebook business page for Shift, sending out an email blast about their company, and then doing a personal post endorsing the company that leads to sales. Now you have a bundle. You see what I did there? So I got their company, even if they just buy an ad, I've got their company going across 4 or 5 distribution channels. So that increases visibility to their website. And it also increases the chance that someone's going to do an impulse buy when I'm posting pictures of their stuff. So that's one thing to do, is to figure out your bundle. Okay. The next thing to do is to focus on creating sales. And what I mean by this is when you're creating your bundle, try to think about the mediums of transmission that you can create that will encourage a sale for your sponsors, because that's why your sponsors, invest in you. So if you start thinking, okay, well, the podcast comes out, I'm going to name my sponsor in the podcast. I'm going to do a Facebook post when the podcast comes out, also naming my sponsor and listing their website and comments. Then I'm going to put it on LinkedIn, naming the sponsor. And then I'm going to do like a couple of social media posts in a month, the month that the podcast comes out. So this will encourage some sales. So all these little things create your bundle package. And I would highly encourage you guys to do a couple of different pricing packages, right? Depending on the level of exposure that they want. Every one of you guys has the ability to create between 5 and 11 mediums of transmission. And all that is a fancy way of saying promoting your sponsor's company. Okay. And the more you have, the higher the higher the rates should be. So if somebody buys like a 2-page feature, I might put their ad on my website for Shift so that everybody that goes and sees Shift will have to see that ad. Or I might, put them out in LinkedIn, Twitter, my email blast, my Facebook business page, my personal Rob the Warrior Strategist page, like all this different stuff. Maybe even my Facebook group, right? But definitely have different pricing packages according to level of reach. So with that, let's talk about what makes your podcast valuable. There are a couple of different metrics, and people will tell you it's just how many listens per week. But I disagree with that. And I know it's weird for me to give you guys advice when I don't have a podcast. But like I said, I have a magazine, and many of the strategies run parallel paths. The value of your podcast is the number of downloads, your reach, okay? So imagine if you have a giant audience, that's a whole different number from the number of downloads, believe it or not. A lot of people will enjoy your stuff. They'll like your business page. They'll listen to it once in a while. But building a giant audience is equally as valuable as having a lot of downloads, because it means you have reach and you have control over your audience. Also, the amount of methods of transmission. We talked about this a little earlier, the mediums of transmission, just how many different ways is your podcast going out? Your ability to create a sale. What if you were so well liked and so well known that every time you posted about a company, their web traffic spiked up? Like I did this for Miller Browning for Do Work That Matters. And he said that one day after I posted about him, his website traffic did a spike. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, man. So that's power, because it also increases the ability to make a sale. And then audience size. So all these things are super, super valuable when people are asking you the value proposition for why I should invest in you as a sponsor. So you need to let them know that even though you might not have a ton of downloads, you have all these other things going for you. Okay. because even if you just start a podcast, 3 different times I've had people start off podcasts, they get very few listens, they have a small audience. I've gotten them 5 sponsors in one day because I knew exactly how to market them. And all I had to do was tell them to make their pitch, create their bundle package with their different pricing options, and then just ask the question. That's all the pitch is going on Facebook or going on Instagram or going on LinkedIn, wherever you have engagement, and just asking the question. Hey guys, I'm looking for sponsors for my new podcast. Here's what the graphic looks like. This is what we're going to cover. I have a specialized deal for 2019. You'll get this and this and this. Who's interested? Guess what? There's 3 to 5 sponsors right there. So how can you increase the perceived value of your podcast? Up-leveled graphics, okay? Personalized graphics with the podcast, with a picture of you, with maybe a cityscape background, a couple of taglines, and the name of the podcast, thematically matching your logo, all this stuff. But a specific branded graphic, very important. Your distribution channels. If your podcast goes out to over 5 distribution channels, the value automatically increases. Okay. So whenever somebody invests in me and they're like, hey, Rob, I want to invest in you. I want to buy an ad and shift, whatever. They're going to go out in the magazine. They're going to go out in my business page. They're going to go out in my Facebook group. I'm going to write a personal page about them. They're going to go out in my email. I might even do a YouTube video about them. I might blog about them, and I'll probably post something about them, a recommendation in a group I'm in. Oh, and then my business page as well for my brand. So guess what? There's 9 powerful mediums of transmission right there that'll get somebody sales if they invest in me. And that's a pretty good sale point. How else do you make your podcast unique? Is your audio lead-ins and your music. I highly encourage you guys to hire a voice coach. The one that I'm promoting right now that's really awesome and is a perfect time to hire him, Mike Dolbo, the voice of the veteran. He's a great guy. He's a professional voice actor. He's done radio. He's on my friends list. Feel free to reach out to him if you've ever considered having a voice lead-in for your podcast. It sounds a lot better and it makes it sound more professional. Plus his rates are super good right now and they will go up very soon. I highly advise reaching out to Mike Dolbo for your voice intros for your podcast. Another way you could make your podcast unique is custom music. Do giveaways on your podcast business page, and then interview celebs. I always tell people with a media platform, every 4th interview should be a celeb. For Shift Magazine, nearly every person that is on the cover is wildly either successful, rich, famous, accomplished, whatever. They have some claim to fame that's wildly impressive. And by doing that, it exposes my magazine to larger audiences. It creates social currency, but it also establishes a standard. Because I want to interview top performers. That's the whole purpose of Shift. So hopefully this has given you guys some really cool ideas. I want you guys to remember that your podcast should be constantly evolving. You should be growing your audience, interacting with your audience, and creating emotional hooks with your advertising, right? Give me a reason to listen that will change my life. When you're going to interview somebody, give me a little backstory that ties in so that I know why I should listen and why they're important, okay? Make the value proposition to listen to your podcast so good, I absolutely will just put it on my list that I have to listen to this, okay? And this goes into effective storytelling, like learning about your guest and their pain points, what they did that was meaningful, what I'm going to gain from listening, and making sure that your guest has a freebie or an offer at the end, okay? So hopefully you guys took some value from this. I covered it from the sponsorship end. I covered the branding. I covered the guests, all that good stuff. But you should absolutely take great pains to monetize your podcast. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. As always, my website's yournextlevelofsuccess.com. I'm Rob the Warrior Strategist. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If you like this, please share this. Put this on your social media right now. Don't hesitate. let people know about it, and let's create some prosperity for everybody. Have a great day.